Hi. Excuse the inflammatory title I'm going to put on this, but this is a subjective question. Now, I am a massive Amiga fan. I also actually really like the Raspberry Pi, but could it potentially be the best Amiga ever made? So what I'm going to show you in this video is you're going to see not just the games and the demos. People quite often, most people concentrate on using the Raspberry Pi for playing Amiga games. I know even Eben, he loves the Amiga games, and that's what he likes. But I'm more interested in actually running Amiga applications. Now, a lot of us still do, you know, sometimes for fun, sometimes because there isn't an equivalent, and so on. But what I'm going to show is a Raspberry Pi 3. I'm only testing it with a 3 because I think it gets its best performance from a 3. Outperforms all of these in performance-wise. I mean, it literally does. I mean, and if you look at the specs, you're going to see a sysinfo chart. It beats even the Vampire, except on floating point. It's got a bit of a poor floating point performance, but that's just the nature of the beast with probably the RISC architecture. Everything else, though, I haven't seen an Amiga that can outperform this, and I'm not talking next generation either. God, I think this will give them a run for the money. I won't be surprised. It would be interesting to see this up against you know, the PowerPC boards. But anyway, so we go by those scores now. So the video is going to show you now. You're going to show it's going to show you some RTG works because the HDMI I can get 1080p. So. Like my 2000 there, which has got a graphics card and get a nice high resolution, this gets even higher resolution, and it performs absolutely beautifully. I've got a little plug-in wireless keyboard and mouse, and what I do is I just use a couple of these. Okay, works absolutely beautifully. You're going to see all that. So let's have a look at the video, and then at the end I'll give some conclusions. But I think this is fantastic, and I hope you do too. Hi, right, so, okay, this is the main main part of the demo. This is going to show you all the stuff that gets done through the HDMI port. So I'm going to concentrate on the, mostly on the RTG, that kind of stuff. But first of all, the key thing to know about this is, as you can see, this is running Amibien. Which is a really nice little package. It's basically a Linux with a very cut down Linux, which basically launches the Amiga emulator. And there's a bunch of it. This is not a tutorial in any way, shape, or form. But basically, it's to show you what's possible. Now, I have this normally set to boot straight into the emulator, but I'm going to show you the steps on this now. One important thing to remember, if you do get something like this, because it's Linux, always when you finish, quit the emulator. You press F12, press quit, and then press number 1 here, shut down the system safely. That's because then it can close off any files, that kind of thing. It's not like the Amiga where you can just pull the power out and no one cares, as long as it's finished saving that file. Modern operating systems get the ump. Apart from that, this works really well. So I'm gonna I'm just gonna restart the Amiga's operating system. So you may well be familiar with this. This is UEE. It's been optimized for Raspberry Pi, and you can see I've got a number of setup. I'm going to show you a couple. I'm going to show you my Amiga setup, and an Amiga and I've also got an AmiKit on here to show you how fast that runs. But the one that runs the best for me, I've got in fact, if you saw my 2000 earlier, in fact, let me start this up. If you saw my 2000 earlier, it's basically a snapshot of that hard drive. But now it's running at 1920 by 1080, and it runs really nicely. So I remember what I was saying about the performance. Okay, so there we go. Now it's a 24-bit display. So I'll run you through. So okay, should we just get this out of the way? How fast is this thing? Then because otherwise people are going to be sitting here wondering how fast it is. We can just show you now and get that out of the way, and then you can, if you want to go off and watch something else, you can, and those that are really interested can stay. So basically, let's run sysinfo. Okay, double click on here. Right, sysinfo. Now you'll notice because there's a couple of things with this. There's only a couple of minor things with this package, and I think it's more the emulator. If you've got UAE graphics running, if you've actually selected a UAE graphics mode, the normal Amiga PAL modes don't work properly. The NTSC ones are fine, but the normal PAL ones, you just only get an NTSC amount of display. So there's something weird going on there. That's why you're going to see I run a couple of different configurations for doing the PAL stuff. But anyway, so here's sysinfo. And now also you'll notice it's very widescreen. But if I press F12, I go to here and then come to display. I can turn this. You'll see me do this every now and then. I can put it into 4:3 mode, and now you see it's in the correct mode. Now, when I'm running this on the 14-inch monitors, I'll put it back into 16:9 mode. Don't ask me why, but it kind of scales correctly down itself. Right, so let's run. Let's just press this button to get you all, so you can see now. Now, if you remember rightly, the Vampire, I think it was doing 190 times A600, and I'm doing 246 here. So the MIPS off the chart. I mean, 136 MIPS. I mean, my 60 megahertz 060 does about 65 MIPS. 65 MIPS. I think the Vampire does about 110 or something like that. But you can see the test for that. But you can see here, if you look at this now, the floating point very low. Mine does about 35 M flops, and I think Vampire did about 60. So that's actually very low. But that's the only thing it's actually slower. Now, bearing in mind, everything else, very little really needs the floating point. So the JPEG loading uses it, which obviously, but it runs at a reasonable speed, as you're going to see. So, right, I'm not going to do the drive speed test in this because I don't actually have any hard files set up. I'm just using the file system, so there's no point in me doing that. I did do it once. I did set up a hard file system, and it was off the chart. I mean, it was ridiculously fast, so it's not even worth whining. I mean, it was probably, I don't even believe it, to be honest, but it was probably 10, 20 times faster than what I get on mine. Right, so that's the speed, so we've got that out of the way. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll just switch this back into that mode. There you go. So now we've got that. Now let's get some music playing. Let's show you. I've got let's have some music. Okay, so I mean it's just a workbench. You know, it's a 24-bit workbench, as I said, one at 1920 by 1080. I can run loads of software. Oh, let's do it just once. Yeah, no, there's already a copy. Let's go and find the file. That'll do. Now, bear in mind, I'm also running music as well, actually, which is not going to help. Although, it actually doesn't seem to be. It's obviously a bit slower. Obviously, because I'm actually running an MP3 player. No, it's not an MP3. Sorry, it's a mod player. What am I talking about? So let's execute that. Pull that over here. Okay, so just Amiga applications running quite nicely. What we'll do is, just to show you the difference, let me stop that. So we're now just using this as, oh hang on, I don't need to do that. Let me load that again. No. Okay. Let's does it really matter? Let's scale it. Let's scale it to 50%. There we go. Scale it to 50%. Execute. There you go. So I mean, it works really nicely. Okay. I run now. This has got OS 3.1. I like OS 3.1. I mean, I know people are probably going to moan at me. Why aren't you using 3.9? I mean, I've covered this before, but I found 3.9 slowed things down, and plus the fact it's the original 3.1. It's fast. It runs really fast. It's not got bogged down by a load of stuff, as you're going to see with AmiKit next. Right, so let's run some applications in here. So, I've run a few, but let me see if I can run some more. So we got the direct to open. I mean, it all works beautifully. Let's see what we've got. So up here, I've got Perfect Paint. Okay, just to show you, this is really just to show you it all running. Okay, well, let's grab us an image. If I can get hold of the button. Well, let's load that image there. There you go. So as you can see, that because the floating point is quite slow, this is the only time, like with JPEGs, you're going to notice the slowdown. There we go. But you'll notice everything's very fast. Okay, so if I shrink, if I can get hold of this, shrink this down, moving the screens around, you know, it's really nice and fluid. It works really well. Let's try loading in another picture. Yeah, that'd be raised. Let's see if I find an IFF. Here we go, dusk. How about that one? Oh, this is a JPEG as well. Oh God, it's a bigger one. Let's try finding a different file format. Yeah, as I was saying, the only thing with this is that it's the floating point. But bear in mind, it's £50 compared to like what does it cost to get get yourself a modern Amiga these days. And it probably wouldn't actually, to be a modern Amiga probably wouldn't be much quicker. In fact, let's go into a different buffer. And let me load. I've got to have an IFF24 in here. Right, dusk wallpaper. Oh, it's not a JPEG, it's an IFF. Oh, okay, unless I've actually got it as a JPEG. Okay. Anyway, you get the picture. It runs quite well. So I'll let this finish. Because what I want you to see is normal Amiga applications. There we go. But it just runs really nice. You see how quick it moves around. Let's quit. Actually, we don't need to quit because we've got so much memory. Let's try TV Paint. Now TV Paint runs at a maximum of about 1200, but let's do the usual with this. Oh, here we go. I mean, it's just works really well. And if I cut an area out, okay, halve it, and then I can paint with it. I mean, you know, it's, and this is running on Raspberry Pi. Remember, I mean, this is, oh God, I shouldn't say this, but this is a kind of PowerPC performance. But I'm sure someone will shoot me down in flames for saying that. But it is running pretty good. That's that. So what else have we got on here? Oh yeah, I mean, I love Cygnus Ed. Okay, which is my favourite text editor. In fact, it's one of the oldest editors out there. It's been around for years. And let's just open up something that's got quite a lot on it. Directory Opus. And yeah, so I mean, it works really well. And cause the other thing I've got on here is so my setup is basically a standard 3.1. It has Magic User Interface, has Magic Workbench, has a whole lot of extra little bits and pieces that I've added. I've got an MPEG player, which is the same kind of performance, and I should have actually remembered to set that test up, but I didn't. So I've got quite a lot in here, but also if I go to open up work, there we go. So let's see my software in here, graphics apps. I've got loads of stuff on it, but you can see it runs really nice. One thing I do want to show you, that's a good point, is let's show you eyebrows. Now this is I still haven't transferred my license onto this, so let's yes, I know you're in demo mode. Right, so let's pull that up there and go to Amiga World. Come on in. There we go. So that's now loaded. Okay, so there's Amiga World. You know, it's a nice browsing experience. I wish we had a more modern browser, obviously, because you got the performance here to run it. You know, this, you know, as I said, apart from the fact of the slightly slower FPU performance, you know, the non-floating point stuff works really well, and it throws graphics around like nobody's business. There we go. So we got, yeah, that's still running. Because the great thing is, of course, and I've still got, well, what have I still got? I'm saying I've still got 7 meg of chip RAM. Of course, yeah, I've got nearly 8 meg of chip RAM left because I'm not using any chip RAM. Oh, okay, right. So let's close some of these down, and then I'm going to show you something. Now, all these are RTG programs. Okay, so I'll close these down, but I'm going to show you one that actually isn't, and I'm going to promote it. So what I want to do is I'm going to run Lightwave. Okay, so now this is running in 800, I believe 800 per 600. I've got this running now. Now again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this into 4:3 shrink because then it looks correct. Now I wish it'd be nice if it was sorted out actually in the emulator itself, but I mean I'm happy to switch it. But so I'm now running this in 800 by 600. I can actually put this into 800 by 600. There we go. Okay, and I can load a scene. And you see this works. Continue. Let's put it into camera mode. And of course now I've mentioned before about speed. Now look how smooth that is. Yeah, and it's really good because the data's getting to the graphics card really quick. And then let's go into modeler. I'm not going to bother rendering. And let's load in a model. Okay, 3D objects, animals, triceratops. There we go. Let's just make that the full size, and then maybe see if we can put the display on. So remember, this is one that's being mode promoted. Okay. So it's a native Amiga display. There we go. Let's move that around. Which version is this running? So this one now again. This would benefit from the faster floating point, but it does run really nicely. So it's actually really good. Let's quit that. Come back out to here. Okay, so that's a mode promoted program. And one more. We'll do one more. Let's switch this. It'd be nice actually if this was on a hot button, wouldn't it? One more. Let's load up Personal Paint. During I/O. Okay. So now this is actually, I've set this to run in an image format mode, UAE mode, 800 by 600. And let's load an image. Now, pictures. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. Is it gonna load out? It might take all day. Let's go into here. Let's find the actual paint pictures. Here we go. Let's load the clown up. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll do the usual. Grab it so you can see how fast it blitz the data around the screen. Turn them back on again, and you can see how fast it does it. And then let's undo that. Shrink the size of it. Yeah, so it's usable. It's very usable for all your applications. Now, as I said, the only problem with this, either the build or this version of the emulator, I'm not sure what it is. But whenever you want to run a PAL applications in normal Amiga modes, I have to run them in I have to make sure there's no UAE graphics running. So I have another setup. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reboot this. I'm going to go back to the control panel with F12, and I'm going to load up another one. I'll come back to AmiKit shortly. And this is a bog standard Amiga Forever. Okay. Absolutely bog standard. I think I'll put I'm gonna turn the display on. Let me switch the display again to 4:3. Right. Now this is it's a completely bog standard. It's running in PAL mode. In fact, it's running non-interlace mode. I've noticed on the LCD monitors when you run stuff in interlace, they shake. I don't know. God knows why they need to shake. There's something weird about that. But it looks fine on the PAL monitors. Now I'm actually really going to show you this on the other monitor. So what I'll do now is, oh no, I'll tell you what, I'll come back to this. I'm probably going to cut this out actually. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the AmiKit. Okay, so we're going to load up AmiKit to show you what this is like. Now, but remember this, AmiKit is using a lot more resources. And this is kind of what I was saying about 3.9. But don't get me wrong. If you've got a really fast machine, it's fantastic. All the smoothing of the fonts and all this wonderful stuff. But you need like PC power, and unfortunately we didn't port to PC. So it works, and it works quite nicely. And it's very usable. But it's compared to my setup in 3.1, it's quite slow. Right, here we go. So that's now booted. Okay, so what we'll do is let's load something up. Let's have a look what we got in here. So we got all the usual bits and pieces. Well, you see there's a slight lag on stuff, but it is, as I said, it is very usable, and it is actually quite nice to use. Let's go in here. Let's put. I don't know why I always show text editors. Right, because I like to see how smooth that one. See, that one's lovely, isn't it? I like text editors, maybe because I'm a developer. There we go. So there's AmiKit. What have we got in here? So, I'm not sure if I showed you what I was using. Oh yeah. If forgive me if I've already shown you this. Can't me if I did now. I've actually got a wireless. What I use with this now, the computer itself was just under £50, but I'm actually using a little wireless, a Chinese keyboard and mouse combo, which is about £15, but completely wireless. You know, so and it works really well with this, and because after the operating system, the base and then right at the bottom here is Linux, so it supports anything, and it's also handling all the network. Which is really handy. So let me, what else can we run on here? Let's shove that over there. I know people like their games. Let's have a look. Deluxe Gallagher. Oh, this is quite nice actually. Like Workbench, Arkanoid. One of the few games I used to play actually, funnily enough, was Arkanoid. I used to really like it. And it looks to me like it's running in 24-bit. Oh no, I slowed it down now, look. Anyway, that's boring. Games. Yes, I'm sure I want to quit. But you know, this is the standard AmiKit, and it's running reasonable. It's not running as well as it does on my super fast machine, but I would guess this. I mean, I haven't got a Vampire yet. I'm guessing this probably is going to be running at about Vampire speed, maybe a little bit quicker, maybe a little bit slower. I don't know, so I can't really comment on that. Let's see what's Eagle Player. Here we go. But it's, you know, it runs quite nicely. You can see it's not as smooth as it was. Although actually, to be fair, on mine it's not actually moving the entire block of data. It's just moving an outline. So. But it works lovely. Yeah, now I've got this running at 1280 by 720, I think it's running at. I tried it at 1920 by 1080, and it was, to be honest, it was a little bit too slow. So I found if you leave it at 1280, it runs beautifully. Let's close that. So this works. Personally, I prefer using my. Oh, have we got in here? Let's see. Here, let's see how well Perfect Paint runs on here. Here we go. Will it load up a gym? No, it doesn't recognise gym the GIFs, does it? Space. Oh, here, this should be an IFF. Oh, great, doesn't like that, does it? All right, cancel. No, cancel. Let's do no one. Let's get a JPEG. Let's do a small JPEG. Here we go. There we go. So it still works beautifully, yeah. So that's if you want to run AmiKit, it does work, and it performs. I prefer mine because I like the performance, but you know, we'll see about how well AmiKit. Now this is actually the full blown AmiKit. You know not AmiKit X. It's the one just before that, but this is like with everything on it, and you tend to remove certain bits to make it run faster on classic Amigas. But you know, I'm running the full-blown version here, so that may be why it's a little bit slower. There is one called AmiKit Real, which allows you to run it on a real hardware, and that probably will run a lot better. Probably more like the speed of my 3.1 operating system version. But anyway, so there you go. I mean, that's AmiKit. Now, the next one I'm going to show you is having it running on a PAL monitor as almost like a proper Amiga with an Amiga monitor. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, here we are again. As you can see now, I'm on my 1084 monitor. I'm going in through the composite port. Now, what I found is it looks actually really nice, to be fair, the output from this. But if you put it through an LCD monitor, even that gets better. But if you're going to put it through an LCD monitor, you might as well put HDMI. So I'm running in a normal now I've removed the UAE graphics from the monitor's drive, and I'm not using it. As soon as you use a UAE graphics mode, what I'm about to show you won't work unless you're an NTSC size. But yeah, so I've got this as a standard PAL display, non-interlace, because obviously now we're going back to normal monitors. You don't want the flicker. So here we go. It's just Workbench. Let's click a couple of bits and pieces so you can see there's the clock, and here's Directory Opus. And it works really nice. I mean, it just works. It's a great little Amiga. I mean, if you just want the original experience on a monitor, you can just buy this computer for like £50, maybe £10-15 for a keyboard, and you're off, and you've got a really fast Amiga. Now, if you just forget the fact that it's an emulator, right, and don't listen to the naysayers, okay, just do what you want to do, and away you go. I mean, because these are absolutely brilliant. It's a shame I haven't got my demos in it. I was going to run a couple of demos, but I haven't got any. Right. So anyway, let's show what this is like now. So for example, the usual thing. If you click on Pi comes up in a nice mode. Fingers crossed it's not going to come up in. UE text error. Nice. Okay, so it won't run Pi. Text. Oh. Hey. I've got to be careful what I run here because it starts flashing, doesn't it? Okay. So right, let's run something interesting. So let's run Scala. I'm going to come to a couple of games in a minute for people who like games. Now, I think you can see this. Now, I'm showing you this because this is now full AGA application that I'm going to run, and it's pretty heavy duty on what it does. So it needs a pretty beefy AGA machine to run this, but you'll see now. Now there may be the bit of flickering in the screen because the display is obviously at 50 megahertz. So, but it's doing alright, isn't it? I'm going to let this run for a minute so you can see this, because now that flashing's not actually the display. That's my recorded device, which is actually my phone. So I have a nice 2560 by 1440 mode, but it does get freaked out occasionally by the 50 frames a second. Now this is an AGA based superimposed text and brushes, and I think this may be showing a picture in a minute, because I want you to understand this is running an AGA machine at a really good speed. Yeah, that proves this AGA comes in. Yeah, that flashing's not on the screen. I'm just checking this so you know. That's just the camera freaking out a bit. Colours are pretty close though, to be fair. Anyway, you can see how smooth that's run. Now that used to take a reasonably good 4000 or a mildly accelerated 1200 to run. It's an 030 does it. In fact, probably an 020 would run it okay, but it would need fast RAM at least to do this. Now that black flashing's not there. I'm just telling you this so you know that black flashing's nothing to do with the display. There you go, so that's starting again, so let's cancel that. So that's running Scala, and it runs it really well. Now I suppose what you want to do is let's have a look at a couple of, some people like games. I'm not really into games, but I'll show you what I've got set up. I've got an A500 set up here, so if I load that, I may have to reboot. Yeah, there we go, and let's reset now. Oh, hang on, no. Before I do that, one thing I do need to do is I need to turn this 4:3 shrink off, because otherwise it will. It's weird actually, because you think it's a 4:3 monitor, wouldn't you? But I think it scales it. Oh, yeah, yes, we know it's a cracked version. Now, of course, now we're using the A500 emulator. Yeah, ignore that. Let me see if I can. It's having trouble. It's the focusing is. But now the emulator tries to run it at the original speed, so of course this is going to take. This is simulating floppy disk drives. I've actually got it set up to run faster, to be honest. But I just wanted to, so you can see a game running. I don't know if there's a way of. Oh, hang on. It might be just Pinball. Now, the reason I show you this is I actually used to play this quite a lot. I'm not very good at it now, obviously, but I'll give you a couple of minutes of this play. Now, my point with this is to show you that this is a Raspberry Pi 3. It's very important to say it's a Raspberry Pi 3, so you've got the extra performance, but it's running. You can run your games on it. It'll run. I've got a demo on it. I'm going to put in a minute. Once I've shown you a little bit of the game, I'm going to load up one of the old demos. Let's get this loaded. But you can run a decent workbench. You can run the old Amiga applications on it. You don't need to spend a fortune on an Amiga. If you're quite happy with the word emulator and you don't want to run it on a PC and you want a completely... So another good thing about this is, which I think is fascinating, is you can just pick this up, take your keyboard and mouse with you, or if wherever you're going, if someone's got one, pop this in your pocket. You just turn up, there's your Amiga. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, you can just turn up anywhere. Most places have got an HDMI output you can plug into. And as long as you've got a keyboard and mouse, you know, you're laughing. You can't drag your Amigas everywhere, but you can pop this in your pocket. There we go. Now this is not the AGA version. This is the old ECS version. I think it's probably 32 colours. But who cares? Let's see if I can remember to get it again. Here we go. Alright, so I'll just show you a few seconds of this. Oh, I've actually got it pushed over to the right, haven't I? Oh, don't worry about it. Oh, hang on. Let me just... What I'll do is I'll centre the screen up because the monitor's slightly to the... There we go. That wasn't very well done in setup, was it? Right, here we go. Let's see if I can... Oh, God, I'm useless. Right, let's try it again. Come on. This is why I don't play games, because I'm... Oh, Jesus Christ. But anyway, so I'm not going to compete against anyone, really, am I? So let's show you a demo. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Let's quit this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to floppy drives, and I'm going to turn off these. I'm going to eject that, and I'm going to load up a different one. Demo scene. Let's do Spaceballs. And we'll end on this. Now, when you run it on an Amiga monitor, no one would know that you're not running this because it's running on an Amiga monitor. No one's going to know because it's CRT time. It's really good. The only thing, actually, I would know actually. To be if you put certain demos up, you can see them scrolling of the big blocks of text to give you a little tip. A lot of the time with this kind of stuff, you probably wouldn't notice. Now that flashing again, that flashing's not happening. Let me stabilise it a bit. There you go. You wouldn't really notice it in this, but when you see the big blocks of text moving slowly across the screen. So I've got another one. Let me show you another one. Let's skip this and let me show you how you can tell the difference. I have got one there. Here's another one. It might take a minute to load. Yeah, remember it's running on a 500. And of course, you can do the 1200s as well. You can run the there's some 1200 demos, which I unfortunately haven't got any on here. I tend to like to show off my 1000. I usually do these demos with my 1000, but this is the bit, and I'll say this on all emulators. None of them are as good as the original hardware. Oh no, that is actually running smooth. Oh, that's depressing. I was going to say about the text being really not very smooth, but actually it's running very smooth. It must be to do with the 500 emulator. That's actually not bad. Oh god, that would be difficult to tell the difference. Actually, to be fair, on what you're seeing, not quite as smooth as what I'm seeing. Yeah, well there you go. You see, these emulators are amazing. And I think a lot of people, you know, miss out because they just, oh, nobody's an emulator, I need the real thing. You don't need the real thing. The real thing's expensive, and don't get me wrong, I've got tons. Anyway, I'm gonna sum up in a minute. But we'll have a little bit of this because I love these old demos. What we got coming in now? Okay, yeah, this is, you know, all this stuff was running on the 1000. Oh, here we going on. What are we going to do? Probably failed. Oh, okay. Anyway, that'll do for that. Right, so I'm going to end this now and then the sum up. In a minute. Man, this is clever coding. I love that. These guys are so clever. I just can't help but watch these. Oh, we just a minute of this one then, shall we? Woo! Look at that, isn't that good? And I mean, this runs on my 35-year-old computer as well. You don't need this. I mean, you know, I've got a number of them down there that just run this stuff really nicely. But that text is actually, I was going to say the text is never as good, but that's actually running really well. And maybe something to do with the fact it's running in off the comps. I don't know. It's very smooth. Anyway, okay, let's call that quits now. Okay, so let's sum this up. Should you buy a Raspberry Pi based Amiga emulator? Okay, so well, as you can see, I've got a few Amigas here. Why would I want one? I'll tell you why I like it. Well, for one thing, it's the fascination with you can get. This will be, apart from floating point, this will outperform all of these. Okay, absolutely outperform them. It's not an Amiga. Okay, it's not an Amiga. But it's an Amiga experience and it's fast. And if you want to do any Amiga applications, it will outperform all of these. Okay, not by, well, yeah, by twice as much. You saw it. I mean, in fact, let me just tell you. I'll run on here. No, what's the point? This outperforms everything here. I mean, even my 060 based at least double the performance. And that's on Workbench applications, and it runs all the demos, it runs everything. So look, you know, the only thing it lacks, again, as I said, is in floating point. So should you buy one? Well, it depends on what you like. I mean, if you haven't got any Amigas at all, and you want to have a play, you can get in the game for £30. Okay, you do need to buy a copy of Amiga Forever, which is I think £25–30 as well. So you will need to factor that into the cost. But you can build this unit here, as I said. I don't know if I actually showed you. See, look, it's sitting inside there. Lovely, little, absolutely gorgeous little board. I did actually do my own Raspberry Pi case, as you can see, which I'm quite pleased with. But in the end, I just thought this is just perfect. So I popped this in here. I've got how big is that card? I think the card's 16GB, which I think if you know for Amigas, that's forever. I've got a wireless little dongle in here, and then it runs a wireless keyboard and mouse, which you can pick up for £10–15 for the set. But the really cool thing about this is, I mean, you know, here we go. Can you see? It goes in your pocket. And you can take your entire Amiga experience. As I said, I actually backed up the drive that has that system, the 2000 system, and it is running on here. And it runs a lot better than it does on there because you've got increased graphics speed, everything. You know, it's a great experience. Now, so if you haven't got an Amiga, I think it's a no-brainer. If you want to experiment, get yourself a Raspberry Pi. Amibien is not the only one out there. There are other. There's other. I'm trying to think of the name. There's a couple of other companies that actually make complete systems. One does it with floppy disk. I'll put the links in the description. And they're really nice, and especially one with a floppy disk drive. I haven't tried one, but it's very clever, and that's doing the same thing. But straight from just bare bones, you can get that. Buy this, the Raspberry Pi 3 for say 30 quid, a memory card for a tenner, a case for a fiver. You need Amiga Forever, which is 30. You'll need the Plus pack. You don't need the premium one. You need the Plus pack because that's got the OS, the like 3.1 licenses and so on. And then you can set one of these up, or buy one of these through a company that's doing them complete, and it will give you a great experience. I mean, an absolutely brilliant experience. And I'm really chuffed with it, and I think it's earned that little badge I put on it. I mean, I seriously do. And you see that it'll run in HDMI, it'll run in a 1080p. I haven't tried it at 4K, but it wouldn't surprise me if it runs higher. And it just runs brilliantly. So if you don't have an Amiga, it's a no-brainer. If you want to experiment, get yourself one. Now, is it better than a Vampire and an Amiga? Well, it's in some ways it is faster. Some ways it does more MIPS at the moment, but it's with the Vampire. I think it's now this. I don't know anything. I've not spoken to anyone, etc., etc. But I'm guessing the Vampires again. The board will probably be about 350 to 400 euros. I say euros because I think they're pricing it all in euros, roughly. Okay, that's what I'm expecting. By the time you someone's made a case for it, you're talking probably 450, 500 pounds as a system. Well, that's 10 times the price of this for maybe half the performance. Now, if you're putting a Vampire into an Amiga, so I'm thinking of putting it into my 1000, I may put it in the 2000, then you already got an Amiga. But if you haven't got an Amiga, that's getting expensive. If you just want to experience the Amiga, because I want people to come back to the Amiga, not just for games, okay? But if you just want to play games and nothing else, there you go. Seriously, this is what you need. And then you can experience Amiga applications, because I think the whole Vampire thing is going to rejuvenate the Amiga 68K software market. And then you can decide whether you want to spend more money and get a Vampire. Because the Vampire, I mean, they came out with the accelerator cards that are too expensive. And I love what the Vampire guys do. But they've been incrementing the price, and it's going to go up and up and up and up and up. So I've got a feeling they're going to fall into the same trap they're accusing others. Accelerator prices are actually dropping now. So they're coming down in price. Now, I mean, the Vampire's a fantastic solution, period. There's, arguments again for and against. But look, £50 for just that. Yeah? Plus £30 for Amiga Forever. Which I'm not sure how the licensing works with Vampire. Should you buy it? It's up to you. But I would say if you haven't got an Amiga, come on, try one. What is it, 50 quid? And plus the fact you got a little. Why? Do you know one thing I didn't show you? Oh, I really wish I'd showed you that actually. In this same setup, I have a video player software set up, so I can put just drop video files over, not in the Amiga emulator, but through Linux, up to 1080p videos, and I can play my video files from this as well. So I can put movies on it, so I can take this with me to someone's house, plug it in the HDMI, as long as I've got a keyboard, they've got a keyboard or whatever, plug it into it, and I can run my movies that are stored on here, just from this as well. And that's done from the Linux side, it's just a command that I put in there. OMX Player, that's it. I installed OMX Player on here, and it will then play 1080p movies, so I can use it as a movie player as well. It's just an incredible little piece of kit for such a small amount. So there you go, another reason to buy a Raspberry Pi if you didn't need another reason. And then of course, if you finish with it, you flip the little card out and then you put the Linux one in and you got a Linux computer. Jesus, come on, just buy one. What's the point? Don't muck about. If you want to try it, buy it. It's fantastic. Indeed, but the experience is as good as all of these, if not better. It's still not using one, is it? It's still not. It hasn't got the tactile. It's not an Amiga. You don't have that bit of it. And I love these things with a passion, as most people probably know by now. But I can also see the benefit in that. And I've waffled on forever. Just go and buy it. 50 quid. That's it. Thanks so much. See you again.